Is it recording?
Yeah, I think so. Yep, it's recording.
Okay.
Oh, jeez. No. No. Down. Down. What is he doing?
Maybe just put them up there and close the door.
Yeah. I'm wondering if they'll cry, though.
If they have each other?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay,
Hey,
guys.
boys, let's go. Take 3. Take 5. This is our intro.
Yeah.
After getting all the maniacs out of the bed.
We're here to spill the tea. No, JK.
Well, Dad, don't spill the coffee on this
No,
white
no.
new comforter, even though Louie already bit a hole in it. We're going to finally get to you guys questions on our contest prep Q&A. We have these cute little socks. Thanks, Graciela, for
G-Money Fit.
for our birthday gift. This is Brittany. This is my assistant coach. You guys know her well now, and you guys know me. Okay. All right. So we're gonna kind of dive right into this because these always end up being pretty long videos, and I don't want to do that to you guys. I want to keep it as short, sweet, and to the point because that's exactly how all prep should be.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. So let's start with one of yours.
What's your hype song? Favorite hype song right now?
But like I have 2. One is Walkthrough by, oh gosh, it's Rich Homie Quan. Walkthrough, and I just envision like when I would walk through that stage when that song comes on. And then Revival by Selena Gomez. Because this is, you know, my revival year.
It is, yep. Okay, so my boyfriend always tells me I have a big butt. And so booty by Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, that's a good one though.
Yeah, and then anything, like to get me in the zone when I'm lifting, anything NF.
What's NF?
You've never heard of NF?
No.
You know that song on the radio and it's a, okay, I'll have to play you some of his stuff, but he's a rapper. He's actually a Christian rapper, but
I've never heard of him.
Yes, you have. You've heard his song on the radio.
Oh, okay. Well, she'll educate me.
Yeah. Throughout the years, what has continuously brought you back to bodybuilding?
I am obsessed with human anatomy, and I love seeing change and manipulating and seeing like how variables affect different outcomes. Even though I actually didn't go to school for anything science related, which is unfortunate that I didn't tap into this resource that I had until later in life, but that's fine. But that's what kind of always brings me back, is just that manipulation, that desire to understand the cause and effect of different people's lifestyle factors.
For me, it's been more of the mental side of things. It's been honestly my therapy since I started. Whenever I need someplace to kind of escape, the gym has always done that for me. Obviously the physical progression is nice, but it just clears my head. Whenever I need a place to go, I just go lift.
That's very true. Lifting is so therapeutic for me. Do you feel that prep affects life with your significant other, i.e. not eating out or being at the gym often? I'll answer this quickly. My husband works very terrible hours. We never see each other. It's not really a huge factor in my life. He also is well aware that it's a factor in my career and my career goals. So he's very empathetic to that. I will say that I have to take it into consideration when it comes to his days that he does have off. I do have to find that time to tune out from my clients, to tune out from my email, to tune out from social media. And I have to maybe wake up earlier so I can have that extra hour with him in the evening, or have that extra time to go spend with him. And I am perfectly content going to, he loves craft beers. I'm perfectly content with going to like a brewery and just chilling. I typically prefer a brewery that serves coffee because then I will have a cup of coffee with my husband. But like, I'm perfectly content in letting him do the things that he still wants to be able to do, and just kind of going with the flow.
For me, it's very simple. My boyfriend is my coach, who is also prepping. So, I mean, he also works shitty hours. He's just constantly working. So the gym is actually our time that we spend together.
And neither one of us have extended family here.
That's why we spend so much time together.
That's why I've invited her into my bed.
Yeah.
Or not. We'll pass that. Anywho, for us, now I know that this is a factor that comes into play for many of my clients, and that's something I do discuss, but for us personally, that's kind of why prep isn't as challenging as it is for others. Are you guys ever nervous that the Comp Life diet may mess up your hormones? It did. I competed for 5 years almost straight, and 3 of those years I prepped myself, and I would allow myself to stay relatively stage lean for far too long, and then would try to go into the depths of prep, and it was just like a vicious cycle. and it was because I wasn't allowing my body to rest and recover. So it can absolutely happen. However, as I've gotten older and as I've become more wiser about contest prep and more wiser about my body and more intuitive with my body, I know exactly what I need now for my body to be ready to do this phase again. Like, I'm 100% so grateful for the coach that I have now, Jason Theobald, who kind of took me under his wing and was like, this is exactly how we're gonna create a more optimal environment for you. So then future preps could be more successful. And so I'm sitting here today because those learning tools that he has set up for me. You had a similar situation, didn't you?
It's just mostly because I was eating like an asshole.
Oh.
But
it happens.
It happens. There is definitely a smart approach, or a smarter way to approach a contest prep. There's a reason for every season, and for people who truly want to be competitive and go far in the sport, you kind of have to just get comfortable with the fact that you need to have an off season, you need to gain fat. In order to gain muscle, we know that you do have to gain some fat, and
it may be in a level that is beyond your comfort zone, and you just have to step, just like stepping on stage is outside many people's comfort zone. Your body fat levels, you may just have to get outside your comfort zones.
When hitting a plateau, how do you determine whether it's time to push harder or give your body some rest and relaxation?
That would be best answered based on biofeedback.
Yeah.
If other things like digestion and sleep are disturbed, then you know that you probably do need to back off in something. It could be backing off in the food choices you're making and maybe reevaluate your food. And then in terms of if your sleep is getting interrupted, you may need to change your training schedules and different aspects of your current environment to allow more restful, peaceful time closer to bedtime. But a lot of that has to do with biofeedback, I feel like.
Yeah, biofeedback, there's so many variables that come into play that you kind of just have to be objective with everything. If it's truly just because you are burnt out and just like exhausted, your body's not responding, all other variables outside of that are in check, then yeah, it's most likely time to take a rest. But if something is off, like even something like sleep, water intake, stress is a huge one. Food sources, those can all contribute to a stall or a plateau in your training or progress. So before you make any decisions, like you said, biofeedback is a big one, and just kind of be objective with all the variables that are a contributing factor. Yeah. The last one was, what are you most excited to eat?
So I'm a huge dark chocolate fan, and I like sea salt and caramel together. So my friend Emily makes these turtle brownie things. I don't know, it's like a sea salt pretzel with something caramel. I have no idea what it is, and a brownie that's barely cooked. And I truly just want to bite into that. I just want chocolate.
So I'm competing in Texas now, so Nick and I have been looking up like best Texas eats on Instagram. So
I would think that there's probably, I would think there's so many places.
Nick wants to do a 10K challenge, or just like a day of who can eat the most.
Yeah, I am terrified to do a 10K challenge because my stomach could not handle that. I can barely push what I need to push in my off season. Any advice for first timers, nerves, and stopping my legs shaking on stage? You have to practice.
Yeah, that's just it.
You have to practice. You have to practice in front of people. You have to go to posing seminars. You have to go to posing symposiums. There's all of these resources that you have to look into to pose in front of others. You cannot pose constantly in the gym in front of a mirror and assume that that is going to translate on stage. You have to do it so many times to where you can do it in your mind and you can do it in your sleep.
Also practice posing endurance. Like hold your poses for a long period of time. One, because you have to take into consideration on show day, you're going to have the tan, there's going to be the lights, you're going to be sweating, there's going to be just so many things that are going to be there that aren't when you're just practicing. It's exhausting. Make sure that you hold your poses for an extended period of time to practice your butt off.
So one of Brittany's clients, Jessica, asks, how in the world do you guys balance life with the food prep, the workouts, and the cardio? My best answer for this is frickin' autopilot. You just block your schedule out and you just accomplish every single frickin' block that you have to do to make this happen. Some days are harder than others. Some days are easier than others. Those harder days make you get there. Like the harder days, bypassing those are what lead you to that stage and lead you to that goal. And like autopilot is my best advice.
Yeah, you
don't even think about it. Like don't put so much emotion and thought into it and just do.
You gotta eat, anyways throughout the day.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between eating these food sources compared to
other food sources? For me, as far as prep goes, I try to do like a big cook session. My biggest thing is don't be in the kitchen to make one thing.
Yeah.
Make two things. If you're waiting for your food to heat up in the microwave, what can you put together in that extra, 2 minutes? That's going to help you in the future days to come. Like, always be a step ahead of yourself.
And it's also just a matter of how bad you want it.
Yeah. This is a quick one. How do you guys determine what suit colors to use for your show? I used to be a tried and true red girl, and then I had Becky Clausen, an IFBB Pro judge, and IFBB Pro herself, tell me to go with jewel tones. So, girl went with jewel tones.
For redheads, just not a lot of colors look nice with us, so I only have a select few options. But I did purple last time, which looked good.
Yeah,
this time we're kind of doing like a under the water mermaid type thing, so it's gonna be like purples,
green,
blues, greens.
You really have to just figure out what complements your physique on stage. Any tips for helping with fasted cardio? I struggle to get up. Just get up.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Again, it comes down to how bad you want it.
Yep. Bi-weekly/weekly refeeds or slightly higher carbs for better performance mentality state. So I kind of would love to answer this question because I'm experiencing a very undulated intake. I have a series of moderate, low, moderate, low, moderate, low days, and those are the days in which I'm losing body fat. That's when my body is at its kind of depleted state. And then I have 2 high days back to back, and that serves as a refeed, and it happens not on a weekly time frame, but it happens based on my training cycle. So my worst or my hardest, highest energy expenditure day is leg day, and that's when my refeeds come into play. And then I get a high day, that's also a rest day following that leg day. So I get a chance to recover, and that allows my body and my hormones to really find that more balance that it needs to make those moderate low days purposeful. Like if my body was continuously in moderate low for weeks on end, it would become stressed, and then those would no longer work they would no longer serve their purpose. So I do think that they need to be strategic and they need to be in place, but it all depends on your body, your hormones, your optimal performance. But I do think that there has to be some sense of undulating and some sense of the body knowing when it has to work and knowing when it can rest.
Yeah.
And I think food plays a good indicator in that.
I agree. And again, it's just like that's what you and your coach have come to based on your biofeedback, your needs, how your body's responding. It truly is dependent from person to person.
Yeah, some of my athletes only have high days on their rest days. Some of my athletes will only have high days on training days. Yeah. And it truly just depends on where the work to rest ratio falls for them. I do want to give this example, so I don't mean to be long, but like if you have a client who is on their feet all the time, like a nurse, a teacher, or what's another common one I feel like?
Bartender.
Oh, I haven't coached a bartender before for a contest prep. Oh, you were a bartender. Yeah. Okay, that's right. Anybody who's constantly on their feet, like you have to assess and understand that when they're actually physically at work, they're really not resting. Oftentimes, I would ask them, okay, when are you not scheduled to do your shift work? That is your rest day, that is gonna be your high day. Now, some nurses do 4 on, 1 off, 5 on, 1 off, like it can vary, but like I need to be certain that when they're actually physically going to be able to get that rest in, it's not just rest from the gym in most cases for many people's lifestyles. So somebody asked any tips for dealing with body dysmorphia in relation to contest prep and body dysmorphia. If you are struggling with body dysmorphia, the contest prep environment and the world of bodybuilding is not meant for you at this point. You truly have to heal that aspect of your psyche and of your mind and your mental strength prior to even tackling anything like this.
Yeah.
Like
it'll
only intensify it. And I'm very fortunate, knock on some wood, that I didn't get into bodybuilding and I didn't get into contest prep because I wanted to be smaller. That was never like the goal in the back of my mind, was that I want to be smaller. I like actually wanted to just look like an anatomy book. Like I wanted to be able to see muscle tissue, and I wanted to be able to see those aspects of my body and come to fruition. So I never really had the psyche in my head of like, I just want to be like lean and shredded and I want to do this all the time. I just actually physically wanted to compete all the time. Like I loved being on stage. So that was my like problem, is that I wanted to perform all the time. So my sense of performance is what hindered me from actually truly progressing and healing my body. But I never really got into it for those purposes.
Yeah, if you're doing a contest prep for weight loss, you should not be doing a contest prep.
Let's see, what changed this prep that made it successful compared to the prep you stopped? The prep that I stopped, I definitely was cycle free for 4 months before I actually decided to stop my prep. I had no menstrual cycle. I was feeling pretty down. I couldn't get the scale to really budge beyond like 137 was I think the lowest I had gotten, and I had already been in prep for 25 weeks. Like I had already been in a dieting phase for that long, and my calories had already been very low for about 15 weeks, and I still couldn't make anything move. And that was the first indicator of like something is up. And so the thing that changed this time is that I did take the time it took for me to be optimal. I did get to a higher level of body fat percentage than I was comfortable with. I did take my intake to a higher level than I was ever comfortable with, and I focused on optimal performance in the gym and optimal blood work. All around, everything had to be optimal before I would even step into a dieting phase at all. Like there was no teeter-tottering. There was no like, oh, we're gonna do a mini cut or anything like that. It was just like, we're gonna keep going up.
And it paid off though.
Yeah, it's paid off. I'm very happy with how things have played out because I was very adamant, and I also treated that time frame just like a prep. I didn't miss a beat on hardly any of the things that were given to me to do. I tracked my macros every single day. I only had an untracked meal once a week. I had a couple vacations where I was still tracking loosely and still eating intuitively. I was still staying on my game and staying focused on my end goal of stepping on stage. So I treated it with just as much intention.
Which, if you want to be competitive, you should. Like, you shouldn't get sloppy in your...
Do you train on peak week? Yes. The process of peaking is getting your body to a depleted state, and then you actually use training to shuttle glycogen and intramuscular triglycerides to your muscle cells so they are fuller. And that is the process. So if you do not train, you do not shuttle those nutrients to the muscle tissue.
Training's like the style different?
The style is different.
It's more high volume.
Yeah, it's
not
very
like
you're not going 100%. You're not going to full extension in most of your joints. You're keeping tension on the muscle fiber, and you're typically doing, I would say, anywhere from 50 to 60% of your maximum weight, even though you're doing a high rep range burn, but it's a good burn. It's like a weird kind of training. It's a shorter training session because you're literally just trying to get that muscle fiber to react. You're not in there to necessarily burn body fat. If you're in there to burn body fat on peak week, like you should peak in coming weeks. Yeah. Like you're not ready.
Extend your prep.
Yeah, extend your prep. Peak week is like fine tuning and recovery. That's a big thing. Is like the workouts are a lot shorter because you're there to recover as well, and part of putting nutrients into the muscle tissue is also going to help with recovery. So first pick for protein and carb sources on prep, I am a sweet potato junkie. Like I've actually had the webbing of my fingers turn orange from sweet potatoes.
They are delish though.
That's my favorite. So I love them so much. Like I actually get frustrated if I go somewhere, even in my off season, and I don't have sweet potatoes prepped, because I don't like any other sweet potatoes other than my own that I make. I'm very weird.
I mean, everyone has a...
And I like chicken with them.
Yeah.
Like that's the only way I really want to eat chicken is if I have sweet potatoes with them. Otherwise, I don't want chicken.
Weird. Do you put peanut butter on your sweet potatoes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I'm an almond butter fan.
Yeah.
All right, so what's yours?
I like oats. I've always been an oat person. I know a lot of people they don't digest oats well, or it makes them bloated. I've never had. And protein, it varies. Egg whites, chicken.
Yeah.
And your...
So I'm the sweet potatoes and the chicken, like those are hands down. I also am a huge fan of ground beef. Is it crooked now? I think it's crooked now. It looks crooked now. So this part of this closing clip is just going to be crooked.
Sorry
I can tell by the bed. Look at the bed.
I've been doing white potato lately.
Oh yeah, I switched to Yukon Gold potatoes. But I haven't been taking the peels off. I forgot about that. I do peel my sweet potatoes because I don't digest the peels very well. And I realized that I've been eating Yukon Gold potatoes and I've been keeping the peels on those because they're just these little things. So that's all of mine. Did you have any more?
All of mine.
We answered all yours. Yay! Well, we are done.
We're good.
So I think we will get closer here. No.
Okay.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you guys for being interested in our contest prep journeys. And it's been fun to be with each other through this process.
It has.
It's been a blessing, honestly, because
We've been each other's cheerleaders.
yeah, and it's just nice to know that somebody else beside you is going through this. So if any of you guys are prep sisters at heart and you're in prep together, we wish the best of luck to y'all.
And if you're looking for a bomb-ass contest prep coach,
oh, yeah, I kind of do that. You can go to ChanelCollette.com and you can fill out a client inquiry if you are interested. And she also does lifestyle coaching. I do lifestyle coaching as well. In fact, the majority of my roster is still lifestyle. But we are going to close out this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel so you can see more videos by me with us. And thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.
Acting like you love these troubles. Leave it all to luck. You struggle. You can't sober up. Tell me why you love